Hello, how are you? It is day 9 of our 45-day challenge. I'm so excited. We're getting through it. So, today I'm going to read and see what they say today. Albert Einstein was among the first to present the theory that most people use just 10 to 15% of their thinking capacity. In the same way, most people use only 10 to 15% of their potential vital energy. This is a key concept in the circle of chi. Most people simply live in a physical body that could be considered an unconscious, automatic blessing from our Creator. There is a certain basic ebb and flow of breath, heart activity, and digestive juices running inside the body automatically. But in order for a person to alter their state of existence, or to even think of slowing down the aging process, or to embrace another level of consciousness, they must learn to take the body off automatic pilot. They will have to decide to put themselves into manual control mode, and it is the mind that initiates this shift. Imagine that you are an experienced co-pilot about to fly over the Atlantic Ocean. Your pilot informs you that for the first time you will take the plane off automatic pilot and fly manually. If you have trust in that pilot, if you are able to understand directions and follow them, you'll more than likely be fine. But if you're in the cockpit with a pilot that has little experience, if you have not been given the owner's manual and you're unfamiliar with the instrumentation, you'll be hard-pressed to get across the ocean safely. The world has many of millions of people living today who have never been given an owner's manual for the body, and they have no pilot to consult. They live their lives with no clue about basic body functions like breathing, movement, and thought. They do not understand how these simple functions affect the body, let alone how the body truly interacts with nature. But your mind can bring you right back to those basic body functions anytime. For instance, the mind can alter the breathing mechanism. The mind can share a new rhythm with the breath, a new discipline, something for it to measure. Suddenly, that individual will have a totally different biological experience in their body. It's an incredible concept to understand. The mind has the capability to introduce profound change. This ability to change can be understood on an even more basic level than breathing. Every time we exercise and move physically, the muscles contract and expand in pairs. There is a constant ebb of duality in our muscular movement. In the midst of any movement, the speed or intensity can be changed. It is the mind that decides to initiate a change in our movement. In the same way, the unit of awareness we call our spirit self can use our will and thought to initiate any change in our life. It can alter any sequence of cause and effect that is already in progress. This is true for the physical body and its functions, but it is also true in everything that we do. That is one power of the mind. In many, it may seem unusual to propose that changing our habits, improving our financial situation, making better nutritional choices, or improving our relationships is really no different than deciding to lift our arm to the left, or blink our eyes, or take another breath. But in the basic understanding of how the mind really functions, they are the same order. The change can be instantaneous. The changes are initiated with the mind first. The ability to have a new thought is a profound gift. The ability to initiate a change in our thought is the reason that we are called human beings. When we deny that basic form of responsibility, we are really no better than the animal kingdom in that moment. It is interesting to consider how we think about and treat animals. There are many people in the United States who actually treat their pets much better than they treat their friends and family. My teachers used to comment on this phenomenon. They often reflected that it might be much better for human beings to start the relationship education by learning to interact with the plants so they could develop the proper thought process, and then gradually introduce animals into their lives and eventually graduate to thinking and dealing with other human beings. The more you understand the unconditional love we are supposed to give each other, the same unconditional love most moms give an infant, or the same unconditional love that God gives you on a regular basis, no matter how you think of God, one thing becomes clear fairly quickly. Most human beings are not ready for thinking and acting with that level of love with each other on a regular basis. The primary reason that humans are not capable of that level of love with each other is because they do not know that they have the ability to think. They think so little of their own thoughts. Consider the phenomenon of the cult, for instance. How does one really determine when a group is a cult and when a group is not a cult? Cults actually show up in many places and in many organizations. They can be within political, religious, or esoteric groups. Unfortunately, more often than not, they are wolves in sheep's clothing. They appear to be something that they are not. It is actually fairly easy to spot a cult when any unit of awareness, individual, or a collective group of people want everything to do, I'm sorry, who want everyone to do everything the same way, or say everything the same way, or think everything exactly the same way, especially if they want them to do this without any challenge to the thought process. That entity is a cult. When any individual in a group has lost the ability to challenge the thoughts of their group, that person no longer functions as a human being, much less a spiritual being. I'm not going to comment on the last two paragraphs, but I could. In two or three ways, they're coming to my mind. Oh gosh. Focus, Lavon. When any person just accepts everything that the leaders or individuals in their organization say and do without question, they have lost their free will. I've never lost my free will in my life. Thank you very much. They have lost the choice to take another thought, to take another road, to understand where they came from. They have also lost the ability to understand where they are going. They surrender their humanity when they surrender their freedom to think. We're really talking about how the mind influences the chi that flows between people and through organizations. When you understand the importance of being able to take a new thought, you will be able to trace the entire rise and fall of any business, of any religion, and even the rise and fall of any country in history. Wow, that's so profound. That's so deep. You could talk about that one sentence and like for hours. Excuse me. The rise and fall of any organization will be greatly determined by those in that society, business, or country who are able and willing to continue to embrace freedom and take a new thought. How does a country like Germany become a Nazi Germany? It happens when enough people lose the ability to think intelligently. It happens when enough people lose the ability to understand the basic premise of thought. So how does one cultivate independent thought? Conscious breathing and communion. I'm sorry. Start again. So how does one cultivate independent thought? Conscious breathing and communion with nature are several key ways to cultivate freedom of thought. They are both tremendously beneficial, and there are several other practical ways to cultivate and keep an open mind. Some of the greatest books available in the area of spiritual growth, especially for women, are books by Annalie Skaran. Her book, Yea, Y-E, Yea Are Gods, is extraordinary. The title comes from a quote in an Old Testament psalm. A tremendous source that often appeals to men comes from a man by the name of Jim Guar, a nuclear physicist and profound visionary, particularly his 7 Steps of Effective Prayer. This is available free of charge from the United Research website, yourlight.org, and Your Light is URLIGHT.org. Your Light, URLIGHT.org, 7 Steps of Effective Prayer. And the other book was Ye, Y-E, Ye Are Gods by Annalie Skaran. Another great way to open up one's thinking process is to read religious books that come from religious traditions other than your own, especially if you happen to adhere to one kind of religion. Doing so will very often fan the flames of your own faith. Many people who are threatened by such an idea are unaware that they have already lost the ability to think for themselves. They are unaware that having lost the ability to think is what is really giving rise to their fear. This surrender of their free will actually drives their fear. Becoming truly enlightened is a process of being able to take the next thought, then reach out and take the next one, and then turn around again and think the next one. Very interesting. Okay, we're into 9 minutes. So, yeah, there's a lot of truth in there. And a lot of examples I could give. So I have read different books. I was taught that you could only read the Bible and you could only go to a Southern Baptist church You could only, you can't go to other churches. You can't go to other. One time I went to vacation Bible school at a Catholic church. I'd never been in a Catholic church, and I walked in. I was like, "What?" I didn't even know anything about it, and it was like, it was beautiful. The church was beautiful, and I came home with 50,000 questions, and my mom was like, "You're not going back." I'm like, I'm like, it was fun. It was cool. I'm in vacation Bible school. You're not going back. One day, just visiting a vacation Bible school and a Catholic church, and I had like, oh my God, my mind was like, ooh. I was five. I was in fifth grade, and my mom was like, oh God, I should have never let you go that one day and cut me off. I couldn't go with my friend, and I thought that was horrible, horrible, horrible. So it's not like I'm just going to jump to Catholicism because I had, questions. Oh God. So, and then I've read the Quran, not to become Muslim and not because I wanted to, be a Muslim. I just read it because I wanted to read it. I read a book about Catholicism, really big book. Because just interested, not to join, not to, change my religion, just to know what they think and why they think that way. And then so I can have a discussion on God and their aspect of seeing God. And so, even just the fact, some people watching this, if I even just say I've read the Quran, they were like, oh God, you're going to hell because you didn't read the Bible. Oh gosh. So I never changed my religion, and it was just interesting. And the stories, some of the stories were the same. With Noah, they talked about Noah, Adam and Eve, of course. Um, it's all the same Bibles of the big stories in the Bible. So the Jewish religion, of course, is the first 5 books, but the books that are in the Torah, Torah, and then the books, in our Bible, which is the first 5 books, is the Torah, and then the Quran. A lot of many stories in the Quran is the same stories in the Torah and the Bible because it's the same stories. It's the same people. It's the same history. So the Muslims didn't change the history because they, anyway. Oh gosh. So interesting. It just opens your mind. And so the people that are fearful, like, oh my gosh, if my child is reading, going to the Catholic Church, she may leave our religion, or that's a fear. So if you stand well in your knowledge and faith and love in God, you can let your child read anything. So they're going to go or they're going to not go. Like, you can't control them anyway. You're not supposed to tell your child what to do anyway. So if your child is supposed to be a Baptist, then the child will stay a Baptist. If the child is supposed to become, whatever. So it's that fear. It's the fear. Oh my gosh. Fear, fear, fear. A lot of people stay in religion or go to religion in fear. Like, I don't want to die and go to hell, so I'm going to get saved. It's that fear. That's fear-based. So I love God, and I want to go back to Him. We're all going to go do that anyway. So, I'm going to believe in Him and believe in Jesus and believe in the Holy Spirit and follow, the commandments and the suggestions in the Bible and whatever. So, very interesting. We could talk about this a long, long time. I love you guys. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. I love you. Almost forgot.